with Shweta, and she's going to just have a short interview with us at Scaramanga because we're going to be stocking some of her, in fact, all of her wallpapers. So yes, it's the first time that we've interviewed her. It's the first time we've interviewed anyone like this, really. So good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Carl. It's a pleasure to be here. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you. Really well. Um, so yes, let's launch in. Tell us how you got into designing wallpapers and textiles.
It all started, it's kind of serendipity. It all started when I was doing my Masters of Research at Glasgow School of Art. And I happened to present a presentation as a module regarding Pichwai paintings, paint, which are paintings used as a backdrop for a deity, and those are hand painted textiles. And they are devotional paintings, and that's how I started my research into it. And then I got led into further research, and I led into Indian miniature paintings, and the research led into business innovation in a way. It was kind of serendipity. I mean, it was like I started this journey 5 years ago, over
Yeah,
5 years ago.
yeah. Tell us a little bit more about miniature painting.
Miniature paintings are paintings, they're traditional paintings. So
Yes,
it's a very rare art form, art form of painting, and it's passed on from generation to generation. It's kind of an oral tradition. So, I mean, that's the only way it's passed on from father to son.
yes.
Yeah, so it's a quite an old art form of painting.
Your business is 5 years old now.
Yes, I set up the company 2018, but before there, I was into research and I was painting a lot and I was exhibiting as well,
Brilliant.
those paintings. But then whenever I was showing it to family or friends, and they were saying, "Oh, that's beautiful." And I always had this question, how can I use this art form in this modern day light? How can I bring some new dimension to it? And I started playing around printing those artworks onto textiles.
Yes,
And that's how it all started.
brilliant. They're absolutely amazing. So
Thank
I
you.
can see, and I know because we bought some of your wallpaper for my office at home. So you do wallpapers and you do textiles. What else do you do?
Right. At the moment, the focus is on wallpapers and textiles, but I do have some lampshades and cushions. And I mean, I do get some bespoke clients as well sometimes, like if they like a particular flower, and if that flower has some, some back history with some miniature painting or some other art form, and I can create bespoke. But I am maybe in the future going to divert into carpets,
Aha.
because I'm already talking with a couple of companies maybe to divert into carpets, but it will be into interiors
Yes.
mainly.
Yes. What makes your designs and your painting different from others?
Well, that's a good question. The difference, I think, is the origin of the design, because the artwork is very key and it's a very meticulous technique I use.
Yes.
So there are pigments which are rare. I can't buy them off the shelf from a shop, and it goes through a particular method and a technique.
Yes.
And the pigments are embodiment of light. So once they are painted, they are burnished with a gate stone. I can show you.
Oh, brilliant. I'd love to.
Uh,
I'd love to see it.
uh, so, so for example, like this is cinnabar. I hope you can see it.
Yes, I can see it's uh, like a pink, or is it like a
Yeah,
red?
it's kind of very like red pink. So it's a mineral. This is it in a jar.
And what's the source of it?
And
Where's it from?
where I have resources from the artist I learned the technique. So this is cinnabar. So it's painted and then it's burnished with a agate stone.
Okay. And what does that
So
do? Does that kind of seal it? What does the burnishing do?
yes, it's kind of seal it, like it brings the embodiment of it's kind of matte sheen. Like this is a sneaky peek I'm
Okay.
giving you into one of the artworks I'm working on.
Oh, absolutely beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, so if the pigments are not mixed properly, and when I'm burnishing the artwork, it could crack.
Right.
So it's quite a meticulous technique. And so the colors are very unique. So I work very closely with the supplier studio to get the right exact match with the pigment. And the latest modern technology enables me to do that.
Now that we've seen a little bit about the pigments, tell us the process that you go through when you're designing a new piece of wallpaper, for example.
I do usually have a good archive of my own artworks because these artworks are the starting point for creating designs. So I start very organically, but then I do have a vision what the design would look like. I do keep an eye on the trends, but I don't follow them.
Yes.
I don't follow them because I think these designs created are timeless and they sit very peacefully with any contemporary interiors or a period interiors. That's what it's about, the artworks, and I like to carry the thread into the design as well. So once the artwork is created, I do work digitally, then to play around. How shall we work in the repeats? Does it work well with the base fabric or the base wallpaper we are using with? What width it is? And the beauty is you get to play around with the scale.
Once it's digital, do you then send that to the printers or the wallpaper, and they then print the rolls for you?
Well, yeah, I hope it was that easy. So it's quite I usually go to their studio and work with their studio, which is easy because I'm just there on the spot, and there is a creative input from them, their side and my side, because maybe what I envisioned, it's not technically possible, maybe.
Right.
And then we find a way around it. But because we are in lockdown and COVID, so it's just back and forth of remote working, even the colors and everything.
How have COVID restrictions had an effect on your business and how you're designing?
Well, it did have an initial effect. I mean, it's been a year now as we are talking. It's 1 year.
Yeah.
Now we went into the first lockdown.
Yes.
Just before the first lockdown came, I was supposed to go to Amsterdam, like for a trade show.
Yeah.
So I'm a very small business and I'm fairly new. So I was doing a lot of trade shows when the lockdown came in. And I was due to fly to New York in May for another trade show. So it did affect me.
Yeah.
But then obviously we all have found ways to work and adapt. So is with the suppliers and the manufacturers. So we do have video calls, show things,
Yes.
using digital technology back and forth.
Of
of
course,
samples.
lots of Zoom calls.
Yes. So it's affected, but we all have adapted. So it's not as a standstill. We've moved forward. Yeah.
I have the tropical wallpaper in porcelain white, and obviously I'm using that at home, and I've got an old antique desk that I'm using it with, and I'm mixing it with some Indian prints. It seems to work very, very well. I'm really delighted with it. So mine is a more kind of period interior, albeit kind of influenced heavily by India. What other types of interiors do your wallpapers and textiles work with?
I would say they would work with any, because I particularly feel even if you mix a antique piece of furniture with a contemporary piece, it sits well. I always feel about go with the feeling. How does it
Yes.
make you feel?
Yes.
Are they sitting nicely? Are they visually happy? So for my wallpapers, particularly in textiles, the designs, they sit happily with the contemporary as well as anything antique or anything unique or a period time. So it's these designs are timeless. That's
Oh,
how I see them.
yes. Well, as you say, well, like you said, it's a question of how it makes you feel. And like I said, I've got the tropical, and when I look at it, when I'm sitting in my office, it takes me back to the buying trips and my holidays in
Oh
India.
wow.
So yes, it's very green and very refreshing, and you know the sights and the colors of India come back when I'm sitting down and working, which is lovely because that in itself gives me inspiration for my work, because a lot of what we buy comes from India. What does 2021 hold for your designs? Is there anything that you're working on at the moment?
Yes, it's very, very exciting in a way. So we are having new wallpaper designs and new fabric designs as well coming out. And as I said, I do keep an eye on the trends, but I don't follow. So,
No.
it's a very design-led studio and a very and those designs comes from the artwork. So, there's a lot of work goes into each design. We don't launch season-wise,
No.
but then I'm quite excited and looking forward to those new designs because they will be complementing the designs we already have.
How long is the process from you thinking, right, I'd like to start something new, from you thinking that to it being rolled out by the printers and them being able to print for you?
It does take time. I mean, it's a tricky question to answer it in a way because when you are running a business, it's just not about creating, but fitting in the creation with the ongoings of the business.
Yes.
Yes. So it does take time, and I don't rush into anything because I do set myself a deadline, but I don't rush into just for the sake of finishing a design. So there's a lot of due diligence and attention to detail in creating the end product, whether it's a fabric or a design.
When do you know when your designs are going to be out?
I'm hoping summer. I hope this summer we are having new wallpapers and new fabrics out because once the designs are ready, then it's the visual of creating them in situ and a photo shoot
Of
and
course.
all that comes along with it. So yeah, I'm hoping they shall be up in the summer on the website. I'm hoping.
Your studio there looks absolutely amazing. It looks really three-dimensional in terms of I can see items on the wall and on your desk, and I can see some of your things for mixing there. Is there a certain time of the day where you're kind of most productive in terms of thoughts and inspiration, or is it just something that an idea can come to you at any time?
We were in lockdown, so there was homeschooling and many things going on at the same time. So, it changes, but I particularly, I'm quite disciplined and strict in terms of me creating new artworks because it's quite a lengthy process. So I usually set early morning, sometimes couple of hours for me to just create before I dash onto the laptop for meetings.
Oh,
So yeah, the mornings are the most creative for me.
thank you so much. It's been a great insight. You know, I've kind of known you for the last year, and yeah, lots you've just revealed to me that I wasn't aware of before. So thank you very much. We wish you all the luck with the launch of your new designs later in the year, and we hope to be able to see them and help you promote them and talk about them a little bit later in the year.
I'm delighted. It's my pleasure, Carl, to do this. Thank you so much.